Would you do our invitation, please?
Okay. Shall we pray? Father, thank you for today. Thank you for just the privilege of life, and may we always practice discernment and give us the wisdom to make the right decisions, not only that would be pleasing to you, but would be for people. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right, Shelley, let's do a roll call. Ma'am. Denise Taylor. Here. Keith Austin.
Here.
Bill England.
Honey.
Charlie Bedford.
Here.
Joe Bird.
Honey.
Tom Crittenden.
Honey.
Mike Dobbins.
Here.
Frankie Hargis. Wanda Hatfield. Honey. Rex Jordan.
Here.
Dick Lang.
Here.
Mike Shambaugh. Here. Mary Bakerthal.
Honey.
Leo Smith.
Here.
Victoria Vesquez. Honey. David Washington.
Honey.
Ryan Warren.
Honey.
Awesome. Okay, you had a copy of last month's minutes in your packet. I would entertain a motion that they be approved. Motion to approve. Second. Got a motion and a second to approve the February minutes. All those in favor? Aye. Brings us down to our reports, and Sean Slayton's sitting right there ready to go. Good.
You picked up your goodies back
Yes,
there?
thank you.
You smell good.
Well, let me just talk about those for a minute, because I happen to get jewelry in it when it dissolves. So it might be worth $1 million, or it might be worth, most of mine were $10.25.
That's right. Those are a gift from the company. We have just recently, over the past year, started making those for a company out of California. And they were looking to reduce their labor costs, get out of all the regulation in California, and I don't remember how we made connection with them, but we did, and they are producing that in Pryor, and it's been a great success, and so I thought I'd bring you a sample and let you test it out and see for yourselves what are. So I hope you enjoy that. Our financial report for this month, it continues to be good, continues to be strong. Gaming was a little weak in January and February. People just weren't, a lot of people weren't coming out and mixing and mingling. Bounced back in March, and we're having a strong March. Our diversified businesses made up the difference and really helped out, and those are doing well as well. Our projects are getting ready to come out of the ground. I appreciate those that braved the weather this Monday and took a chance and came to the Tahlequah groundbreaking. I think that's going to be a fantastic project. If you looked at the drawings, it's going to be beautiful, and I think a great representation for the nation of its culture. Hard Rock, we have our next design team meeting next week. We'll be moving into the interior design, and it'll be the second attempt at that. The first one was a little too industrial look for the interior, and we went back with total kind of atmosphere that we're trying to provide in there to those patrons. So we're looking forward to that coming. The games will be moved out of the Sprung into the conference rooms that are on the second floor, and I believe the next day that Sprung will come down, and because that was the very first thing that we built before we built the original tower and gaming floor there at Hard Rock, and it's have enjoyed that, but I'm looking forward to what it's replaced with. Continue to work with David Moore and everyone on the clinic, and that's going well, and that's my report, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Go ahead, Councilor Crittenden.
Yeah, Sean, Chris Moody met with the employee that was wanting to meet with him and discuss some things, and he said it went all right. It just wasn't real satisfying. Can you talk to another council member? Could maybe get with him and
Well, I'll think about that. The problem with starting to do that is I've got 7,000 employees.
But he speaks for a lot of the C&I people are still feeling miscommunicated too, and there's I mean, it's a real communication problem, and maybe.
Let me visit with Chris, and if he can't clear that up, then.
Okay, but I'd sure appreciate meeting with.
So.
But I'm just requesting, as a council member of the Cherokee Nation, like I said, he's not just speaking for himself.
Yeah, he has been heard.
There's a lot. Yeah, he's been heard, but you know, you like a little. But I'm requesting that, and not only for him, and as long as I've been on here, there's. Let me know if you can.
Okay, will do.
Thank you.
Any other things for Sean? Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome.
Hey, Sean, does our treasurer here at Cherokee Nation have access to all of the CMB numbers as far as net revenue, just the general budget information?
I don't know.
Lacey, can you answer that?
I received the same financial reports the council received from the advisory board from CMB.
Do you have net revenues and salaries and just the expenditure costs, day-to-day operations?
You mean as far as their financial platform system?
Yes, the same budget that you submit to this council, the number one expenditures in the job descriptions that are under.
I do not.
Okay, thank you. I have a request from you, and I addressed this when at last hour. Requesting salaries of staff that make $100,000 or more, what their ethnicities are, job descriptions, and names. If possible. The intent of this is to verify the number of Cherokees. Can you assist me on getting that information?
Yes, you get that each month at the back of your report there where we list vice presidents, presidents, and we break those out by Cherokee, other, or other Native American.
Okay. I haven't seen
Our report you get every month.
I don't think it is.
Janice, do you?
It doesn't have names and
Right.
what their salary.
David.
Why not?
Personal identification, personal information, there are rules and regulations about disclosing that publicly. But here's what you could do. If
We
you'll
get them for Cherokee a year ago.
I'll
A year ago.
give it to Bob Huffman,
Okay.
and Bob can take a look and see what we can release and what we can't.
I
And what we
submitted-
can, we will.
Okay, I submitted a year ago.
Well,
Every month.
we have complied with every request, to my knowledge, that we could legally. So maybe what needs to be communicated is if there's one out there that we haven't fulfilled, tell you why. I don't know if that's been done.
Well, our treasurer should have in the Cherokee Nation. You guys are an umbrella under Cherokee Nation and CNI, CNB, CNE. The treasurer should have access to that, being in the Cherokee Nation and information.
Well,
Why isn't that process set up?
I don't know, David. You know, structure that's been put in place, and you know, if there's something that we're not following, then we'll correct that. But to my knowledge, the way that it's operating is the way that it was set up to operate. The business is separate from the nation in how it functions different than the government. And as far as who's allowed access to that,
People pull salaries every day, Sean. It's not confidential. This body, these elected officials, they
David,
have access to
I'll say it
confidential
again.
information.
So if you'll submit something, I'll get with Bob, and Bob can get with the AG or whoever, and we'll determine if we can supply that, and if we can, we will. If they say no, legally we can't, then
Something to you, because I'm pretty sure I requested emails from her that she submitted to you, and
as who?
Gwen Terrapin, our FOIA.
We get
GRA.
FOIAs all the time. I forward those on to Bob. He divides them up among the staff. They reply to those if they can. And, you know, I'll check on the one that you're talking about.
So,
And
if you would, check with Bob and then get back with me and
I
see
will
what the
do that.
status of that is. And if it doesn't go any further, I don't know what we're gonna do, because
Sure.
evidently FOIA GRA people can't get the information either, so.
Yeah.
All right, I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you, Sean. Thank you, Chair.
I think you need to be mindful of the fact a whole bunch of other tribes looking at what we're paying our key people, wanting to take them away to run their businesses. And so you have to be kind of careful.
I would hope this body would keep that information confidential, Chairwoman.
I would hope so too.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, Councilor Crittenden.
Quick question while we're getting that. I've had different ones over the years ask me the salary of C&D board members. Is that something that you could get us?
Let me check on that again about disclosure. There may be a little different than an employee.
Okay, because
since they're-
everybody knows what I make, and I've been curious over the years. It wasn't on my priority list, but I have had those questions asked of me, so
Sure.
if you can get that.
Well, I think you need to follow the process to get that, which is a FOIA or a GRA.
It's not working out too good for Dave,
I'm not sure of
but
that.
while you're digging.
That's what he said he would do, send us a request.
I think he already did, but if you can get that, fine, and I can
Okay.
go that other route if we need to.
What he said was he had submitted something and it hadn't been answered.
Yeah, correct.
So that's what I'm asking you to do. If you have a request,
Right.
follow the process, and if I can.
Was that
I'll
the
answer.
year ago, David, that you submitted?
Yeah, it's FOIA request.
A year ago?
Yeah, GRA FOIA, yes.
Yeah. What he's saying is it wasn't replied to him, or he didn't get satisfaction. Request for information, please follow the process, and if I can answer that, I say aye. The company can answer that, then we will.
Sounds good. Thank you.
And I just want to bring up, I had raised an issue with you about horse racing, and I appreciate you checking into that and getting back to
Absolutely.
me on that.
I think that was cleared up. If it wasn't, let
It's
me
my
know.
understanding that it has been.
Okay.
So I appreciate you responding
Yeah,
to
I'm
that.
sorry that happened.
Anything else?
Are you gonna play the drums with Ringo when he comes to
I
join?
can. It won't be very good, but I can.
I think that'll be a win-win.
Okay, anything else? All right. Thank you for being here, Sean.
You're welcome.
All right, Lacey.
Good afternoon. Well, I have nothing but good news today.
Good. I need some.
Our FY 2017 financial statement audit was completed today. And so those reports are being compiled, or printed, compiled, and delivered to you all. We hope to have them over today. Our single audit, which we hope will be in the next 4 to 6 weeks, will invite the auditors at your and so a very clean audit opinion, and we're very, very proud of that. So I want to just give credit where credit is due and thank the employees of the Financial Resources Department here at the Tribe, as well as the program and budget staff, in the various departments here at the tribe. Everybody is working hard to follow policy and procedure and ensure that the Cherokee people's money is accounted for and spent towards our mission. So I just want to express my gratitude because I get to report the good news, but it's the work that everybody does here 365 days a year that enables me to be able to say that. So very grateful for that. Whenever we can have integrity in our financial reporting, it translates out to us being good business partners and more accountable and
room that contributed to that
Absolutely.
Clean audit, and go ahead and recognize them.
Your staff?
I definitely have Jamie Cole here, controller.
Could you have
for the
them stand,
Cherokee
Lacey?
Mission. Yes, please stand. Did Connie Chandler leave a little bit of? Oh, she's compiling, and I need to give credit to Amy Sams back here. She's the director of finance and health, and the federal budget for the rest of this fiscal year looks really great. So we're very grateful to those members in Congress who looked out for Indian country, and hopefully will understand better what that true impact to our programs is. But I'm feeling very optimistic about this next few months of the fiscal year. We're starting our budget process soon, so we'll get that kicked off in the next 2 weeks, and we'll be ready to have an FY19 budget for the council to review later this summer. So with that, I'll be happy to take any questions that you might have on my report or otherwise.
All right, go, Councilor Crittenden.
Lacey, the last meetings we had when we gave the teachers some money, and I'm a teacher and I was in support of that. There's some people, I've been getting lots of information that felt left out of that, and that's our support staff at the immersion school and at the Sequoia. There was some confusion on certified. I have a lady that's certified that is not on the list. You know, that's a separate thing. You know, certified teachers will get this. She's wondering what in the world's going on. She's not getting it. But the support staff, you know, they're feeling left out. And I had a time getting some numbers, but Jody got me. I just want you to think about this number. There's 74 of them. 74 that, again, bottom line is feeling left out. I'm going to meet with them along with, I think, a couple more council people this coming week and just kind of see what they've got on their mind. It wasn't, you know, I didn't plan on this happening, but enough of them reached me, enough of them try to see what 74 is, that kind of magic. And that's going to boil down to maybe 74 times. That's what I wanted to mention to you.
Our plan mirrored the plan that was going forward at the state level, which was state certified teachers.
You betcha. And that's one thing that I'm keeping my ears on. My wife and I both teach. This is a feeling like they're owed something, and I'm going to get behind it. And please be looking at that number, because we're going to meet with them again and be knocking on the door. So thank you.
You betcha. And yes.
Lacey, I've only been in office for 8 months, and so I'm not sure if this is the right place to bring this up. But we just broke ground on a major casino here. And people, when they come to visit, they're going to want to go to our heritage center. As a matter of fact, everybody, Cherokee Holiday, and that reflects our heritage, that reflects us. It needs a major upgrade. I'm estimating at least $2 million. I really think we ought to do a feasibility study and get some figures intact. I realize the tribe doesn't own this, but this directly impacts us. It reflects us, and it reflects who we are. Is there any way we could do something and put it in next year's budget to help assist the Heritage Center with upgrading the facility to top standards?
I hear your concern, I think at this point in time, we're focusing on making sure that they have archives and making sure that that's a tornado-proof structure that will support the mold and wet conditions. And so I think that's first and foremost on our capital project list for the Heritage Center, but I will certainly take that recommendation back to administration and let it be known.
Yes, we talked about this a few years ago, and I agree with what you're saying. The issue at that time, it's under the state, and the state has no money. And we looked at the formation of their board. They had so many board members they couldn't even get a quorum. It's half of them are calling in. So we looked at the policy for them to even be on the board. So we as a council, if we're going to start financing that place, we need to look at the policies and board again and the agreement that we have. Maybe Shelley, you can dig that up and resend it back to the council members, because we do have new council members on board. And let's take a look at what that MOA states. And I would love to inject some funds in there. I've been advocating that for the past 10 years. So let's take a look at that, because it is people, when they go to the Heritage Center, they don't look at whether it's state, they look at Cherokee Nation. So it reflects on us on who we are, and we need to take a long, hard look at it. Thank you.
I also do want to say I had a conversation. He's making some changes there.
Good. That's what we wanted to see.
Yeah, I think he is going to take us in a good direction, so we'll
Okay.
wait for that. Go ahead, Councilor
I have
Rockenstein.
one comment. I visited with Dr. Gore as well, and there's one program that stands out when we're talking about the Cherokee Heritage Center, and that's our TIPO program, Tribal Historic Preservation Act, which when a phone company is going to put a phone tower in certain areas across the United States, I think there's 27 different states, there's remains of Cherokee artifacts. And a phone company is going to pay Cherokee Nation $500 to send some people out there to do some archaeological studies to be sure that those artifacts are cleared and they're able to go proceed with their phone tower. Well, there's so many of these towers going up that Cherokee Nation produces approximately $1 million, maybe a little less, in these TIPO monies. That archaeological program complements our Cherokee Heritage Center. A lot of our artifacts are down there in the archive center, and that's where we just facility
$2 million.
$2 million out of the TIPO monies for this facility. Now, my 6 years being on the council, the Cherokee Nation Heritage Center has been begging for money. And yes, the issue has been there's been a large board, up to 21 members at one point. And there's some politics being thrown around. You know, we didn't want to give money because of who they supported or whatever. Well, regardless of the politics, the building is falling through. And there needs to be some capital improvements to the Cherokee Heritage Center. I visited with Dr. Gord on how we could create an MOA or a partnership with this TIPO. This TIPO, the name under that represents the TIPO, or the forefront of TIPO, is Cherokee Nation. It's not the Cherokee Heritage Center. Legally, we're going to have to get to a way, if this body agrees to it, for the TIPO to be under the Heritage Center umbrella, is to figure out a way legally how we can do an MOA where they can run and operate their own officers and preservation officers to go out and do these studies for these phone companies, and they can have that $1 million a year for themselves for operating costs, capital improvements, scholarships, whatever it may be. Now, Sarah Hill, she'll say otherwise. She'll say that money is designated for I forgot what she said, but it's designated for something else besides operational costs. And I visited with other people that specialize in TIPO, and they'll say that they'll contradict what Sarah Hill said. So we need some legal minds to come together. If this body agrees to put TIPO under the Cherokee Heritage Center so they can operate. But that's food for thought. I'm going to bring that eventually whenever I get time to meet with the minds. But that's just an idea, Council. So, thank you, Chair.
Madam Chair, if I may add to that.
Absolutely.
Councilor Walkingstick, you and the council may be pleased to know that our first use of those TIPO revenues was this $2 million archives that we are looking to build in partnership with the Heritage Center. And then the next $1 million of that has gone into the capital budget for the registration vault. And so we're preserving our historical records. And my understanding of the TIPO funds is that it's to be used for historical preservation efforts. And so, you know, we've used those funds in concert with the requirements that we have associated with them. But I would say that I think the first $3 million of it, we're very proud of these projects. And one-time capital project money is hard to come by here at the tribe. So when we do have it, we do try to direct it in the best way possible.
Thank you, lady.
Sure.
Any other comments on that? This is a good discussion. Okay, if not, thank you for keeping us clean, and thank your staff.
We will. Thank you.
All right, Diane's up.
Well, happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
You have my written report and all the success stories of our day training program participants, our disability employment initiative grant, and our sector partnership. We put pictures and some information in there. We got a lot more. Hunter wanted me to report to you, though, that we had a job fair today in Pryor, Oklahoma. You know where that's at.
I do.
And it was with Key Maintenance out of Shoto, and there was around 30 plus people that had showed up about an hour or so ago, and out of those 30, 10 of them were hired right off the spot, and all 10 of them are Cherokee.
Really? Very
So
good.
that was good.
Appreciate that.
And then we have a safety fair coming up April the 20th from noon to 3 o'clock over here at one field on the other side of where the old Marshall's building used to be. And we've got health, the risk management. There's several people that's working with Willard and our fire program, Ruben Chuckluck. So we'd like for you to come out if you can. We're going to have Smokey the Bear, and Brian says we're going to have a helicopter out there, and we've already got 3 or 4 schools that are bringing a bunch of kids over because it's on a Friday, so they're coming over. So I'd like for y'all to come out if you can. Y'all have any questions?
Any questions for Diane? I do want to make a comment and say how much I appreciate the personal stories in here, because, you know, it's easy to throw numbers out. So many people are helping, and so I appreciate that.
Well, we also try to display the participants. We have one of the display cases down on our end of the building, so when people are out there waiting either to see Linda's side of the fence or our side of the fence, they can read about some of these success stories of these participants, and then we also recognize our employees in our department as well. So,
Councilor Warner.
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. Diane, I had a meeting yesterday before the chamber meeting with SLPT, the former Borg Warner Hawley carburetor. I think if you can, I'll get with you later, but they're needing some help doing some stuff down there, and you know, ICTC was there, Dart Drummond, myself, and several others, city officials, and so forth. I think we can do some good to help them out. I'll get with you later. But
is this the one that Buddy Spencer's involved with?
No, that's the Aviagen.
Okay.
Okay. This is the neighbor though. This is a neighbor there at Carl Albert. They employ about 290 employees and so forth. And the recent tariff on aluminum at that 10%, that's going to really that's going to affect if anybody that drives a Ford or anything. There's several vehicles, but for sure Ford, you've got a pump that was built in Salisaw. They took over that plant that was originally built for someone else. They took over in '74, and they showed a picture in their presentation. And you had people like Melvin McCoy, George Hardbarger, just to name a few that I knew. Every one of those, probably about 70% of those original employees were all full-blood Cherokee. And so it was so I think it's something that we can get in there. I'm not sure yet. I talked to Jeff Addison was the fella, and he's over all of their divisions in North America and Europe. So he's the guy. This company's out of China they've taken over back 08 sometime in there. But I think
our former deputy chief, Perry Wheeler, was instrumental in getting them there.
He was.
And that was
Yes.
Julie Ferguson.
Right on target. So just keep that in your wheelhouse there, and I'll be coming to you with
Okay.
that. All right.
We are working with a company up in Westville. It was where the Hannah Candle Company was. It's called Elkhart. Bill Langley and Sheldon McGletta are working with us on that. And Chuck and I have been on conference calls with them. So we'll be working with them on referrals. So we're getting the business. They're contacting us, and Hunter and his job developers, they're all out there working hard to try to get people hired. Still working with Jay and working with some of the other businesses up north as well. And Muskogee.
Councilor Shaw. Diane, I just want to thank you for getting the information to be on the Scrub Tech program. I'm really proud of those numbers, and I will be forwarding that information on to the people who had shared the other information with me. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Patty Sumner and Jane Grogan and Laura Lundberg. After Patty decides who she wants in there, and then they determine whether or not they're eligible to participate on the program, and we pay the dues for them to go into that program. So it's kind of three-pronged, but it's working, and we know that there's a lot more that we can do working with Chuck and his team. So you may hear some more things that's coming down the pipe as a result of the jobs that will be up at the new clinic.
Very exciting. Thank you.
Yes, very exciting.
Yeah, Don, is there a need out there to reactivate heavy equipment training?
Well, Tony Pivick, who is the superintendent for Indian Capital, they were at the state, and they have got a video that they're showing all over the whole state on the jobs for the next 10 years where the jobs are going to be. Plumbing is one of them, electrical. Heavy equipment is not one of them.
Okay.
But they're talking about the amount of pay, and at one time it was the white-collar jobs, the teacher jobs, and I'm an educator too, but now they are leaning more towards health and manufacturing. And the plumbing, electrical, and all those areas is where the jobs are going to be, and they're starting out at good pay. And that's one of the reasons why we jumped out there to start working with this apprenticeship, so that we could get people hooked up with someone who had the license, and over a period of time while they were working on these construction sites, they can get those hours in so that they can get their license.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Councilor Walkenstick?
Hey Diane, the building trades program we had years ago, was that under your department, or was that under Housing Authority, or?
No, it's under my department, and we still have it. Roy Poteet Jr. is our buildings trades instructor.
Okay.
And we have another young man by the name of Stephen Fishenhawk who's working with them, and they're working with Willard and working with Larry Vance. Willard's working on the training component of it. He oversees that. And then Larry and his team are working to try to get them hooked up with the construction. Some of these commercial vendors.
Good.
And we're hoping that a lot of them will get jobs.
I wish you could have sat in on a meeting this morning with the individual from the military. They have their building trades program at a national level, and they put them in the classroom for so long, and then they give them hands-on experience with building. And I'm supposed to sit down with him once his schedule slows down a little bit to see what his infrastructure of his program, what that looks like. But what they do generally, they go out and they build houses or community buildings or whatever it may be, and they do it for labor free, but all the entity has to do is supply the materials. And
Are they doing it in conjunction with their 2 weeks where they would normally go out in the summer?
I'm not sure what the structure of it is, Diane. I don't know how it's set up, but he said at one point there'll be 40 to 50 engineers on the job site, training people, and so whenever I get to sit down with him, I'll holler at you and see if we might
when I worked over in community development, when Chief Byrd was the chief, we actually worked with the military out of Michigan and out of Denver, Colorado, and they came in down here and did their 2 weeks reconnaissance. Starting over there, and it goes all the way up to Sequoia. They built that. They also built that little bridge that's over there. And they went out to Starkiller Holler and worked with Billy Hicks on one of the water lines, and then they worked on one of the road projects.
It may be the same.
Harlan may remember that.
Yeah, I remember.
Maybe the same program. You know, and you got to submit your application like by September 30th, and they won't get started on it until like 2020 if you submit it this September. You know,
And they'll bring your equipment in too.
Yeah, very same program. But anyways, I was just gonna just browse this infrastructure program and see what that looks like, and see if it's something we might be able to take away from that. But anyways, thanks, Chair.
Okay. Any other questions for Diane? If not, we'll move on. Thank you. Appreciate you, Diane. Okay, so Anna, I didn't see you back there. Glad you're with us today. No, I'm not going to skip you. I was just trying to figure out who was going to talk to us.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Anna.
You have a copy of our report. There's just a few things I wanted to note, and one of them is that the free income tax preparation ends April 10th. So we won't be taking any other appointments after that date. Day scheduled for April 24th in Tahlequah and April 26th in Claremore. We partner with Taro on this to hold business planning competitions for the schools, and those dates are good pending any kind of issues with teacher walkouts or if they have to change the test dates. Also, the NORA Education Summit is April 17th and Pryor. And if you're interested in attending, if you'll let me know, I make sure you get registered for it. And then I just on our report we have made almost $13 million in loans to small businesses, which has created or retained almost 1,300 jobs in our rural communities, usually in the smaller rural communities. This year so far, we have almost $1.5 million obligated. That program just continues to grow year after year. And those that money has created 115 jobs. So I just wanted to kind of point that out. Our outstanding loans that we have on the second page, I started including the lending assets that we have. But we have a small loan program to a very, well, medium-sized program, a large program for an Indian, for a certified native. And we do make high-risk loans. Those are the loans we make, and we have a very good charge-off rate for making high-risk loans. But we loan to people that can't get a loan at the bank, or can't get a loan at the bank without a partnership with us. So happy to answer any questions that you might have about any of our programs.
Do you have current numbers on the how many VITA clients have been served today?
I do not, but Shay will be reporting for me on April 9th, and she'll have all those numbers for you.
It's a great program. Any questions?
That's a good program.
Okay, got off easy, Anna. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, is Willard here?
No, I am.
Okay, so, I'm sorry, we were alerted on Monday, I think it was, that limestone construction had been left off that looks like just a recertification. I don't think it's anything new. So other than that, the Taro vendors listed in your book should be good. So if someone will give me a motion, we'll. Motion to approve. Second. I got a motion and a second on the Taro vendors. All those in favor? Okay, you had a new community assistance list.
There's some additions to the community assistance, $100 split with the 3 Cherokee County councilmen for Tahlequah savings. also for them for Tahlequah Roundup Club.
Okay, and yes, Councilor George.
Okay, conservation organization, need 1,000 for them.
Which one was it?
Okay, conservation.
Okay.
Councilor Crittenden has one.
New Life Church, 500.
Councilor Austin.
Yes, I have three. $500 for Chelsea American Legion, $500 for Tooele American Legion, and $600 for Claremore Legion Auxiliary, all for sponsorship of Cherokee Boys and Girls State Attendance.
Could you give me those names again?
Chelsea American Legion,
Okay.
Tooele, and Claremore
Okay.
Auxiliary.
David.
Oh, thank you, Chair. $1,000 for Dry Creek Community Building.
Jody, when those two holler $1,000, you know they're on their own now.
We're splitting.
Yeah.
Split the bird.
Yeah, he's in.
Yeah.
If you don't see me give thumbs up, then they're on their own.
Okay, other than that, is everybody good?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Okay, let's move on to law enforcement. You have a new list for that as well. Look it over.
Looks good.
Oh, motion to approve.
Second.
Addition? Okay, there was an addition to roads.
And I also have one change to roads.
Okay.
The addition to roads was the Lakemont Road for Councilor Buzzard under motor vehicle tax for $49,600, and under motor fuel tax there's a change. The first item was 149th East Avenue. Councilor Alston, that's being changed to 156th Street Bridge, and the amounts changed from $50,000 to $53,000.
Okay, with those changes.
Motion to approve.
Okay. Motion and a second on the roads. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Brings us to sports teams. There's a lot of yellow there. They're getting ready to play ball.
Motion to approve, Chair.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Okay, livestock. I don't know livestock.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Frankie, I got a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposition? That brings us down to new business. Councilor Warner, if you would, let's do 1, 2, and 3. Those are all surplus donations. Let's do those in toto. Would you introduce them, please?
1, 2, and 3 in total. These are surplus donations from Cherokee Nation, and I put that in form of a motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second for those donations. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposition? All right, Councilor Austin, did you do the
Act 25-17, authorizing the comprehensive capital budget for fiscal year 2018 Mod 4 and declaring an emergency, and I move for its approval.
Does anybody have any questions on that? Otherwise, let's vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Frankie, would you take the operating, please?
This is an act amending Legislative Act 2617, authorizing the comprehensive operating budget for the fiscal year 2018, Mod 7, and declaring an emergency. I move for its approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second on the operating budget. Any questions for Jody? Otherwise, let's vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, brings us down to announcements. Do you have one, Dick? Okay.
I like to figure out a work group or a process of how our treasurer can get financial numbers from CNB, CNE, and CNI. I don't know if that needs to be a work group produced of the treasurer, CNB, financial people, but I think we need to have that person inside the Cherokee Nation to be able to retrieve those numbers. Is that a work group? Is that feasible?
It sounds to me like you need to do some research on the corporate structure to see just exactly how it's all set up, to see what is actually able to be released and what's not. That is a business.
Get with your legal, see what you can and can't do.
Well, regardless if it's legal or not, body, and we need to be informed on those finances. So I like to find a way how this body can be informed of those numbers. So I need help, I guess, figuring out how to go about doing that, Chairwoman. A work group or where the...
Yes, I believe everybody in this room gets the invitations from Barbara Knowlton to attend CNB board meetings, CNB committee meetings. Each of those meetings are open to us. I've not saw the people of them, very few anyway. That is how I stay informed, is by going to those meetings. I go, I ask questions. I have the opportunity to find, I find that to be very informative for me in order to do my job as a tribal counselor, is to attend those. And we're not using it. That's my point.
But there's a limit to how many can.
There is. We cannot have more than a quorum at any given time.
Yeah.
But there's not been any danger of that happening.
No, there hasn't.
I just have.
Wait. Are you done,
I'm
Councilor
done.
Rossen? Okay, Dick's next.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I was going to mention that there's an advisory board that goes to those meetings. They are invited. I don't recall myself being invited in a couple of years. And I've asked for that information, and once in a while it comes through. And so while you may be on the advisory board, Keith, most of us are not. And so when you show up there, if there's more than so many people, it's I think up to the Attorney General to tell you somebody's got to leave. And so if you say, I know everything CNB's doing, you may, but I think what is being asked of here is basic general numbers, and I think you're going to have to look at the Corporation Act to get to where you want to go, Stick, and that's probably where you need to start. And that's just my opinion. Thank you.
Councilor Crittenden had a comment?
Yeah, I'm just going to say some of these meetings we don't attend or attend. I mean, that's nothing to do with it. I don't have an ego. Nobody here has an ego, but we are the Cherokee Nation Tribal Council. If we request something, we should be able to get it. I think that's what Dave's getting at, right? So whether we attend all the meetings or jump in everything going on, that's beside the point of we would like to see some information. But anyway, thank you.
So going back, how do we go about doing that? That's this whole thing. Do we get a work group with the treasurer, Doug Evans, CEO, and come to a round table and says, how can CNB disseminate information to Cherokee Nation?
I agree with Dick. You need to look at the Corporation Act and see exactly what that says. Do some research on the front side and figure out just exactly what it's. I mean, you can do a work group. That's fine. But I think you should start with how it is incorporated. I know it's separate from the tribe. I know they are a separate entity. And so I think that's where you need to start.
The Attorney General would know what the job description of our treasurer is and what her limits are as far as getting information. Is the AG here anywhere?
He's not here right now, but I can take your concern down and make sure that this.
Okay, so the question is what limits does our treasurer have as far as getting financials from other entities within the Cherokee Nation?
Okay, I'll take that.
Or is there limits?
I'll make sure he gets that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thanks.
Well, I'll reconvene this next month.
Councilor
Thank you.
I'd just like to stand. On March 17th, my husband passed away, and I want to thank Cherokee Nation. I want to thank my tribal council, and I want to thank all my constituents, the at-large community. You've been very supportive, my council, very supportive, and I want to thank you publicly because I won't get to see all of you, but I want to thank everybody too. Thank you.
Councilor Austin.
Today is Councilor Hatfield's birthday.
That's right.
Thank you.
Okay. If there's no more announcements.
Make motion to adjourn.
Okay. Second. We're adjourned.
You can come back and tell us what they did in the next hall, then we know.
Expect it to be less?
Or what?